All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. This is the brother Mattathiah from the GMS Virginia camp coming to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the true, holy, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai being the true, holy, powerful name of his only begotten Son, whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus and Christ. Bahashem is in the name, and Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. And I want to touch on this article concerning the Neuralink. And if you don't know what a Neuralink is, it is a microchip that is surgically inserted and wired to the mainframe of your brain via robotic surgery. And I want to touch on a couple areas in this article, and I will leave the link in the description box as well so you can check it out for yourself. And this is concerning Elon Musk's Neuralink brain C-hip. And I believe the first individual, this individual, which is basically giving his testimonial, Nolan Arbach, or Arbach, is sharing his 100 days update of receiving his Neuralink. Now let's go ahead and get into this article. It says Nolan Arbach, the first human to receive Elon Musk's Neuralink N1 brain implant, has marked his 100th day with the device by sharing a detailed post on social media platform X. It says Arbach, who was paralyzed from the shoulders down since 2016 due to a diving accident, described the experience as science fiction that somehow became an everyday reality. He also recalled the as straightforward a small incision robotic placement of 1,024 ultra-thin threads into his motor cortex, and a quick recovery. By day 7, his scar was fading. He felt sharper and more positive once the brain-computer interface, the BCI, was activated. So he's sharing his 100-day experience, his testimony on receiving the Neuralink, okay? And he was paralyzed before receiving this Neuralink from a diving accident, as it says in this article. And, we told you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, when Esau rolls out or begins to roll out, this implantable device on a very high level, you best believe he's going to use testimonials and individuals just like this, okay, to persuade the masses to talk about how great it is and how it benefited their life, okay, how they're able to do things that they couldn't do before. Esau is going to push this under the umbrella of science, all right, under the umbrella of humanity, under the umbrella of health, okay. Let's continue reading. It says Arbach also revealed that by the second week he paired his impact with his first ever Apple MacBook, moving the cursor with his thoughts after a brief calibration session. Within weeks, scrolling, clicking, and typing became second nature. All right, so via the Neuralink, this implantable device connected to the mainframe of your brain, this individual was able to use his MacBook as well as various other household items around the house. Okay, and I believe they did I believe there was a video on YouTube concerning this individual, and they showed all the things that he could do via the Neuralink. Okay, he was controlling like the little motorized vacuum cleaner around his house, turning the TV on and off, answering calls, and doing various different things, feeding his dog with various different electronic devices that were hooked up or were accessed, via the Neuralink. It says the Mac integration was buttery smooth. I went from total Mac newbie to power user faster than I ever expected, he wrote. By day 80, Argo was playing World of Warcraft hands-free. At first clunky, the experience soon became seamless. I'm now raiding and exploring Azeroth at full speed. No mouse, no keyboard, just intention. The freedom is addictive. Okay? So Esau's going to use individuals just like this more and more as we get closer to that hour of temptation to prep these people to receive the micro C hip, whether they take it in their arm, whether they take it in their foot, or whether they get a Neuralink, okay? And also to persuade the masses into receiving these devices, because this is a major part of Esau's, I would say this is the main part of Esau's new world agenda, okay? His new world order, ultimate goal, so to speak. It says 100 days in, and I already can't imagine life without it. The N1 didn't just give me a new way to use a computer, it gave me a new way to live. Arbach wrote, promising to continue sharing updates as the trial progresses. Neuralink's implant remains in its clinical trial phase, but Argua's testimony offers a glimpse into how brain-computer interfaces could reshape independence for people with paralysis. All right, so this is under the umbrella of humanity, under the umbrella of health and science. Right? How could we not make these devices that are doing these so-called miracles? Look at this man right here. All right, he once couldn't talk, he couldn't walk, he couldn't use his arms, he couldn't use his legs. He was resorted to a chair where he'd have to be pushed around or motorized. Okay, he couldn't take care of himself. But now, via the micro C hip, the Neuralink, he's able to do all these things. And Esau's going to seek for a round of applause. Okay, it says Neuralink's implant remains in its clinical trial phase, but Argua's testimony offers a glimpse into how brain-computer interfaces could reshape independence for people with paralysis and potentially redefine human-computer interaction in the years ahead. Now, I believe that Esau's Neuralinks, as well as his, electronical devices inserted into the body or the arm, they're not under clinical trials anymore. All right, he already has these things ready to go. He's just, waiting, or I should say, yeah. He's just waiting for that right moment. Okay, the right scenario. I should say the right scenario, the right situation to really persuade the masses into receiving these things, to roll it out on the red carpet, so to speak. Okay. You're gonna see your rappers, your podcasters, your movie stars, individuals like this. Your uh, you know, people who have paralysis, people that don't have legs, people that don't have arms, people that are sick. Okay, people have various different elements and diseases, giving their testimonies, their testimonials on, these devices. Okay. It says, it's hard to believe it's already been 100 days since I received my Neuralink N1 implant. Looking back, the whole journey feels like science fiction that somehow became my everyday reality. And, this is a major part of Esau's New World Order. He wants every single man, woman, and child with one of these devices inside of them. Okay? And this is to further his control, to further his total compliance upon the people. And what they tell you all these so-called benefits, but they don't tell you, the things that the people who are on the other side of that, computer screen, so to speak, have, the control that they have. Right? It's more than what just meets the eye. All right, it's more than just a electronic device. It's more than just wires and plastic and various other things. This man is literally, okay, via his technology, because they speak about the Neuralink, but they don't speak about the nanotechnology in the same sentence. And this nanotechnology is going to work hand in hand with the micro C hip technology, okay? And with an individual with a Neuralink or a micro C hip in their hand or their arm, Esau is going to have access that he didn't have before. He's going to be able to control your thoughts, okay, at least to a certain extent. He's going to be able to persuade your mind, It's a lock in my screen recorder cut off, but I'm gonna try to jump back right where I left off. But Esau is gonna be able to have a level of control over you. Implement certain thoughts into your brain, certain feelings. Right? They're already speaking about you'll be able to via the Neuralink and via the micro chip, you'll be able to be smarter, be faster, have certain attributes that you didn't have. All right, be able to live your wildest dream. Okay, be the best version of yourself. Right? It says the surgery on day 0 was surprisingly easy, quick, general anesthetic. A small incision and the robotic system did the rest. Right? So he's basically trying to give the notion that it's safe. Okay, I didn't feel anything. It was painless. I just sat in this chair and these robots just cut open my skull and entered this device, and I've been better than ever. Right? Let's get a scripture real quick. Let's go to Revelation 16th chapter. Because you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which you are the biblical Israelites, you've been warned. And you've been warned via the prophets that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has put all over the four corners of the earth, warning you of the times to come, telling you what these devices, these implantable devices, these Neuralinks, BCIs, etc., are according to the scriptures, and also the ramifications, the judgment for receiving them. So there's not going to be no excuse. There's not going to be no, I didn't know, well, nah. All right, you ain't going to be able to use that. Okay. A lot of our people choose to be ignorant. They choose to turn a blind eye. And moreover, they want to be one with this world, and they're willing to do anything to keep up with the Joneses, to keep being a so-called member of society, right? Majority of our people do not put their faith and trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. They put their faith and trust in who? The God of this world, Esau Edom. This is Revelation 16:1, and it says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of wrath of Yahweh upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the charagma of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. Okay? So those individuals that received that device, soon they're going to develop that grievous sore. All right? So they're not going to be able to hide that they've taken that device. Now let's go to Revelation the 13th chapter. This is Revelation 13:16, and it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their forehead. And that's going to come as a gradual process. Esau causing all, it's going to start with testimonials like this, the high level persuasion, your influential characters you see on the earth, these people in Hollywood, down to your local pastor. You saw during the C19, your pastor was telling you to go get the jump shot. They were having jump shot parties at their churches. Pastor was getting up on the pulpit and convicting you, all right, to go to the doctor and get one of these shots, right? Condemning you if you didn't. Well, it's going to be an all hands on deck order very, very soon. Esau's going to say all hands on deck. And if you ain't willing to persuade the masses to push, our device, well, you're no longer needed. Okay. They want to, which I believe they're going to connect I believe we're going to see a universal basic income, along with, what's the other thing? Universal basic income and a social credit score. Kind of like you see going on in China. These things that happen in these other nations are actually like a test run for what's to come to America, Babylon the Great. Continuing on. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads. The Neuralink, man. That's the forehead. All right? That's that device, that implantable device in your forehead. Not what, Bishop Nathaniel and some of these other camps teach. Talking about sin, you know, talking about all these various different things that they perceive that the M.O.T.B is, which is constantly changing. Verse 17 is that no man might buy or sell. So this is going to be the only way of transacting. It's the only way for you to be a member of society, for you to be able to pay your bills, you be able to have a job, for you to be able to do these things in the city, to go in a store, to get goods, go to a grocery store, etc. Soon, this is going to be the only way you'll be able to do that. And at first, it's going to be a, it's something you can do on your own continent, so to speak. But soon, it's going to be a mandate. It's going to be mandatory. All right. And Esau is literally going to seek out those who don't have it to lock you up, throw you in jail, prison, throw you in a torture camp. They call them re-education camps or something like that, or even be put to death, right? It says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the charagma or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 Now, I want to go into the blue letter on this. Because that we're gonna go into that word mark real quick. Because this is a physical thing, contrary to what some of these other camps teach. Let me pull up the blue letter. This is Revelation 13 and verse 16. And we're going to go into that word mark. And then we're going to go into the root words as well. Bear with me one moment. All right, and this is from the Greek. All right, Strong's G 5480 charagma. All right, it says a stamp, an imprinted mark. All right, it says a thing carved, sculptured, a graven work. Okay, so this is a physical thing that Esau seeks to put inside you. And this is not going to just be in America. This is going to be a global thing. All right. Like I said earlier in this video, this is the main part of Esau's New World Order. This is what's going to keep everything together, so to speak. All right. Without the charagma, his plan fails. Let's go into the root words, because I want to go into the the device of how these things are going to be inserted into the masses. Because let's face it, the majority of the people are not going to get the Neuralink. The majority of the people are going to just get it, in their hand or their arm. All right. Because brain surgery to, the common individual is something that, is, it frightens people, but now an individual that has paralysis or has a heavy disease or is, he's missing limbs and arms, and he wants to be able to use these bionic arms via the Neuralink. That's another thing, right? All right, let me turn my volume up.
Strong's G 5482 Charax.
All right, Charax, which is the root word, okay, of charagma. It says a pale or stake, a palisade or a rampart, pales between which earth, stones, trees, or timbers are heaped and packed together. All right, so that pale or stake, that's the delivery system to insert these devices, okay, into your arm, into your hand. And that's another thing. You're gonna have testimonies from individuals that received the microchip in their hand. Oh, it was painless. It was so quick. It was so easy, and you're already seeing it. Look at all the things I can do. I can swipe. I can get into my car, get in my house. It's so safe, you know. I, you remember that commercial from back in the day where the kid was playing at the park and the kid ran away from his mother, and his mother said, "Oh my God, where's Tommy? Where's Johnny?" And she pulled out some device and hit the button, and the kid just ran out of the woods, came back to his mother, right? That's how another way they're gonna push these things. Your kids will be safer. You know, there's been less abductions, less missing kids. You can keep tabs on your family. All right. And also, we could see a major false flag attack, a black swan event, so to speak, to really usher it in. So that's the delivery system, that Koroks, that where they're going to put these devices inside of and, you know, insert them under the skin. Now let's go into the root word of that.
Strong's G 1125. Grapho. Grapho.
All right, grapho, which is to write with reference to the form of letters, to delineate letters on a tablet, parchment, paper, or other material, to write with reference of the contents of a writing. It says to commit to writing things to not be forgotten. Write down, record things to not be forgotten. So all your information, your ID, your driver's license, your medical records, you know all these various different things. Your credentials, work experience, all your vital information is going to be kept on that. Also, the information about you that you don't even know about, right? Esau is going to have access to that, via his cloud system, etc. Because Esau is keeping a high level database on all of us. It says, use to those things which stand written in the sacred books. It says to give information, to fill with writing. So that's going to be the information contained on these implantable devices. All right. Your bank account information. How do you think you're going to be able to swipe to go pay for things? And Esau's going to be able to keep a track record on you, which is going to go along with that social credit score, right? Now let's go to Revelation, the 14th chapter. And this is the judgment for receiving that device, okay? You can keep on listening to these false camp teachers, these false leaders, these false prophets. Keep on listening to your pastor, your favorite podcaster, your favorite rapper. All right, keep on listening to these individuals. They're leading you down that path of destruction, right? This is Revelation 14:9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, okay, because ultimately you're bowing down before Esau. You're beholding him as your God when you receive his device. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his charagma in his forehead or his hand, whether you get the Neuralink or whether you get the conventional, quote unquote, way of receiving the micro C-hip, it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Right? There's a missile with your name on it. Okay? And there's no repenting from receiving the M.O.T.B. All right? You ain't gonna be able to just take it out and set it down on the desk and go enjoy your day. It's not gonna work like that. The way Esau is gonna set it up, however he does it, once you receive that device, you're not even gonna be able to fathom up the thought of taking it out of your body. Right? This thing is literally going to become a part of you. Like I said, when they speak about the Neuralink, when they speak about the micro C-hip, it's funny how they don't talk about nanotechnology in the same sentence, right? Microscopic robots that could be controlled electronically. These things are literally going to work hand in hand, work congruently, work together with the micro C-hip. Lord willing, that was Salakia, Lord willing, that was edifying. Once again, I'll leave the link in the description box to the article I went into. I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rochaha Kwadash. Double honors to the head apostle, Nettles, a great millstone, who rule well and teach well. To the next time, Shalom.